You served 2 mission presidencies, so...
3. Well, one was acting president.
So where did you grow up?
Delta, Utah.
Where's that?
In the center of the state.
And how many siblings do you have?
None. I have a sister who passed away when I was 2 and she was 4.
Sister died at 4. Was she ill?
Scarlet fever.
That's awful. Oh, that must have been horrible.
I was 2. I don't remember her at all.
Yeah, but still. Gosh. Okay, and where did you go to school?
Delta High School, Ranch Agricultural College in Cedar, which is now Southern Utah State.
All right, and where did you serve your mission?
Argentina. When I served there as a young man, it was the Argentine mission, just one mission.
How old were you? 19?
No. I was 20, I think I was 21. Back then, the Korean conflict, you're too young to. There was a Korean conflict way back when, and young men could not go on missions. They had to serve in the military first, or join the reserve and go to college. I chose that, but that was 3 years into. Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've had some amazing experiences, highly spiritual, that I don't talk about all the time.
Yes.
For obvious reasons.
Yes, sir.
There is some things that I think might help struggling mission presidents. I'd be happy to go into all that, but I've had so many of those things. This might be a long interview. Don't misunderstand. I just want to make sure that as it's written, it doesn't come off sounding like I've had these experiences and you haven't.
Okay.
I want to be clear that I know the hand of the Lord in my life from way back when. The patriarchal blessing is very specific, numerous things, and they've all happened.
Have you thought about writing a book?
I've written 3 books. Peace Be Unto Thy Soul. Well, my first book was The Making of a Missionary, which I wrote after my experience as president of Buenos Aires North Mission, published by Bookcraft. 30 Ways to Love Your Mission. Covenant called and said with the new young men going out, they wanted a little bit lighter, and so I wrote the book. It's out there. Yes.
And who did Peace Be Unto Thy Soul?
I did that. That was after my wife's death, my first wife. 12 years ago.
Oh my. But you've remarried?
Yes.
Was your wife ill?
My wife was alive for the first book.
Okay.
Second book I wrote because of her death. It was a niche book to try to help those who are grieving.
Wow.
Going through the process.
That's impressive. So, who's your wife now?
I am divorced, but we're getting remarried. She was the one I was going to bring here.
Oh! I would love to have met her.
She would love to have met you. I married her because I went to the temple with her, and long story short, had an experience in the temple that I was to marry her. I knew she was struggling. She's had all kinds of problems, wayward husband.
Like a cheating husband kind? I had one of those.
Oh,
they're everywhere.
Yes, we are. So there was a divorce. She divorced me. That was about 6 months ago. She ended up here. She has a large family here. I ended up here, different reasons. And we've since gotten together and planning to get married.
And when are you getting married?
We haven't set a date, but
you...
within the next... I don't want all of that.
No, that's
back
okay.
down to you.
Yeah. Was she your wife during the Buenos Aires North Mission?
Yes.
Well, then she would have been at the MPC too.
Yes.
Okay, and she only died 12 years ago. Oh,
and she sang in the Tabernacle Choir for 20 years.
Wow. So you were in Salt Lake for a long time.
In and out. I had missions.
So, okay. General information. And what is your education?
Associate of Arts degree at Southern Utah State University. Bachelor's and master's degree at BYU.
In?
Spanish, majored in Spanish, minored in French. PhD at Claremont.
Where's Claremont?
Clarement.
Uh-huh.
It's in Claremont, California.
PhD in what?
Education. It's not an EDD, it's a PhD.
Yeah. Dr. Bishop.
I am he.
Hey, Dr. Bishop. That's awesome. Good for you.
Good for
Okay,
you.
so when did you finish your doctorate?
Oh, you're giving me the dates? Let me preface that by saying, I'm now 85, soon to be 86.
Go
My
ahead.
memory is,
Not to worry. I'm sure it's still with us.
let's see, probably I ended up with my degree there probably around 75.
Still married?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We were married almost 46 years. And then she had the audacity to die.
She just kicked the bucket on you.
Like that.
Poor
She
little
didn't
bugger.
ask me.
She didn't ask permission?
Nothing.
What is wrong with that?
I don't know.
Bless your heart. What was your first calling in the church? You were never a bishop, were you? Oh. Really? Can I write that down, bishop? Okay, bishop. You know, I think you might need a whole article just for yourself. But
when I was a young man, I had my patriarchal blessing when I was like 16, 17. One of the old great men.
Yeah.
My blessing said to me, study the gospel because you will be called to preach the gospel not only in the Wasatch Front, but in the nations of the world. Now keep in mind, at that time, later, I couldn't go on a mission because they weren't allowing young men
right.
to go on a mission.
Because of North Korea.
So I was in the AF or OTC, wanted to be a fighter pilot. The process was you went to school, you signed a contract with the Army, with the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the 3 years of college, you went to a summer camp. I went to the Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nellis.
No, yes.
And then that following year, you finish your college at the university, and you get a degree in whatever, and then you sign up for you've already signed up for 4 more years in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was engaged to be married to another girl that I'd met at college. She went to be she was 2 years younger than I. So my mother had put in you're going to enjoy some of this, because I enjoyed it. My mother put into my suitcase the Book of Mormon and my patriarchal blessing. One evening, I opened up the Book of Mormon, my patriarchal blessing fell out. That's when I read that I was to go on a mission. And that night in my prayers, I said, it's okay. I know I'm not going to be able to go on a mission because of where I was. I was then 3 years in college.
Okay.
So I was, 19, 20, 21, probably, and engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Contract with the Air Force for another 4 years after I spent that year. By then, I'd probably have children. So I counseled the Lord, told him it was all right. About a week later, Eisenhower, who was then president, so he cut the budget of the Air Force, and the cadets there at Nellis were all washed out because he cut the budget.
Right. Were you a washout?
I was washed out. Then a week later, I got a letter from the Army for my induction notice. I was to go to Fort Ord in Salt Lake, and there go through medical examination and whatever. And then I would be in the Army, in the infantry. Went up there. The young man who did the medical assessment was obviously just out of med school, trying to start a practice. And they had washed me out for frivolous reason. I have a what's it called? It's a little nub of a rib, an extra rib. Can't think of the medical name.
That's okay. Did they wash you up because of that?
Well, they had to have something to say, and I passed 5 life physicals. So I had for some reason I'd taken my x-ray with me of that. So there was a little thing on the form that said, have you ever been disqualified for active or inactive duty? Yes, checked yes, because of that. I thought maybe the AFROTC might be considered inactive duty, because I'd signed a contract, they had a contract with me. So I showed him the rib, and he said, okay, I'm going to put you 4F, which meant I was unqualified physically to serve.
Okay.
Then come to see me, give me his card, I'll take out that rib, and then you will heal,
Okay.
and a month or two down the road, 1A, and you'll go in the service.
Okay.
And I said, if you put me 4F, you probably won't see me again. I was kind of laughing at it. Yeah, I will, 4F. Went home to my bishop, who, it's a cervical rib. Cervical is the word.
Cervical rib, okay. So it's an upper rib.
Yeah.
Right there under
It's right under
cervical
here.
collar. Okay, clavicle.
I don't know, but
There you go.
maybe it's somewhere else. It's somewhere.
Okay.
Went to my bishop and said, I can now serve a mission. And back then the bishops didn't track the age of the youth like they do today. And he said, are you old enough to go on a mission? Yeah, I had 3 years of college. Oh, good. 2 months almost to the day that I counseled the Lord. Oh, my girlfriend gave me my ring back. She broke the engagement because I just didn't feel right about when. It's not that we were fussing with each other. We loved her. But I couldn't decide when, so she said, and give me back the ring. Well, that was taken care of.
Wow.
So now you see what I'm saying. And it says nations. I've served a mission, 2 missions in Argentina. I was the area welfare agent for Central America. I served in Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama.
And you were blessed to be able to learn Spanish so well. Do you speak like a native?
No, I'm not.
Well, did you then? Well, your Spanish was really good.
My Spanish was pretty good. So,
You served that after the MTC, correct?
yes.
What years did you serve okay, so would you call it a welfare mission in Central America? What was your actual calling?
A missionary.
Missionary.
With the title of welfare agent for Central America.
And what year was that?
Came out of the mission in '83. I was president of Weber State College at that time.
Well, State
My
College.
task was to get it ready for university status against all the opposition. The sequence is I was at Weber State, called the mission president.
In Argentina. Okay.
Buenos Aires, More. I'm surprised you don't know that's the best mission in the whole church.
Is it? Who would have thought? Okay, and then, so you went to Weber
Then I
State.
came back.
During your stay at the Weber State College, you were called to be mission president in Argentina.
Correct.
Okay. And you served there from
3 years.
2 years, so 79, 80, 81, 82.
82.
And then
Came home.
home to Delta?
No. Home then was Salt Lake. I left Delta one.
Okay.
And received a call from President Hinckley one day, called to be president of the MTC in Provo.
So at the MTC, how many missionaries how many missionaries did you have in your mission overall in Argentina?
Depended on the month. It fluctuated.
Okay, so what was an average?
About 180.
180 missionaries?
No, I could be wrong on my figures.
Do you remember any favorite missionaries that you had in Argentina? You don't have to call them by name, but just by story.
And I'd be, I won't say reluctant, but to name one is to offend
Others.
Let me refer to those as I tell you about the spiritual experiences that happened in the mission. And I'll refer to them as 2 sister missionaries did such and such.
Okay.
Would that work for you?
Sure. Yeah, I don't need any names.
So the sequence, we've got the MTC. So was with me for both the MTC and the Argentine mission.
Okay.
After the mission, let's see, now I'm going to came back from the mission, and then I served at the MTC. After the MTC, President Monson called me and said, back to some of my, President Kimball was special to me because he called me under special circumstances to be a mission president from Weber State College.
From Weber State College.
When I came back as president, let's see, let me back up. When I became president of Weber State, on the Board of Regents, it's the governing board for the universities.
Yes, sir.
There is always a member of the church, a general authority on that board. That man became my first contact. When I was president of Weber, I had a problem. If I had a question about what would the regents say about this or that, I would call my first contact, which was Thomas Monson. So we had that association.
And he was an apostle.
Later, Harold B. Lee, I met Harold B. Lee at a courtesy call when president of the Weber or any university would go around. You'd meet the governor, you'd meet the blah, 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 blah. So I met Harold B. Lee, and shortly afterwards, Harold B. Lee died.
Okay.
Then President Monson became counselor in the first presidency. And Neil Maxwell became my first contact in the Board of Regents. So I had, in terms of church service, we had the MTC, before the MTC we had Buenos Aires North,
right.
Then the MTC. Then later, I went over to BYU, was a professor over there for 10 years.
You were 83 to 86 at the MTC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 83 to 86 at the MTC, and then you went to BYU as a professor of what?
I was in the education department.
Okay.
I was actually given an assignment, an administrative assignment as executive director of consortia of six school districts. My background is instructional strategies and management.
Well, you've certainly been blessed financially to be able to...
I've been blessed.
Yeah. Well, I think the Lord provides for those who serve. Wouldn't you say? Okay.
Maybe not financially.
Doesn't matter.
But sure provides.
Yeah.
Which is another story. I just got out of the hospital 3 days ago. Had a miraculous thing happen there. When my second wife got the divorce, she was frustrated about life and things. She had a real problem with any man trusting.
Why?
Because her husband was a...
Cheater?
Yeah.
Is that all? Just a cheater?
Is that all?
I don't need to write that down. Well, it's not pertinent information. But, okay, so she had a cheating husband, right?
Yes.
And she had trouble trusting any men or just priesthood leaders or...
She now trusts me and loves me. And
what changed?
the divorce. I was there. I'd had with her, she's a nurse.
Okay.
Retired, of course. She's 82. I'm 85. Well, this was another one in her spirits. I told her there wasn't any, we weren't going to, the relationship wasn't going anywhere. I told her. And we went to the temple because she had time and I didn't know what else to do with her. Married her, knowing that she had all these problems. I don't need to put it out on her so much, but there's no doubt she had serious problems. And we struggled. And finally one day she kept wanting a divorce from day one. And I could give it time, we'll work it out, we can, but then it finally happened, and I left St. George, she left St. George. I felt like I'd been hit with a truck because I lost all my friends, I was on the High Council in the state doing a project of missionary work that was meaningful to me and changing things there. So that happened. She also saved my life, incidentally. I had the pain, and I said, okay, what's this pain? and she said, "Give me your hand." And I gave her my hand, and it was clammy. She stood me up, dug in her purse, pulled out an aspirin, chew this, come with me. Sat here, took me to the hospital. They didn't let me out of the hospital. They took me right into had open heart surgery, quadruple bypass.
Holy Hannah. Wow.
Saved my life.
Apparently she did.
Yeah. So there we are, a few years later, and she wants to divorce me. So 5 minutes, okay, now I'm at limited funds because the bubble burst. I lost a home that was worth over $1 million, I thought, and money to ended up in jail, who was one of my missionaries. Yeah, it hurt my feelings. The divorce thing happened, and then she came here, and I came here. But I came here because I had a son here. She came here because of family, but we weren't going to get together.
Right.
So I came here, and I found it's a little reserved community for adults. Old people go there. I really like it, not because there's a big pool, and there's 2 pools. There's golf, and I don't golf. There's pickleball, I don't pickleball. There's all these things, but the people are so friendly. That's what I like about it. And there's a restaurant there, and a little post office, and it's like a little teeny...
Like a little town, a village. Okay,
and
all
it's
right.
cute.
Good.
So I came to town and said, I need to go find a cardiologist. My son knew a medical doctor here, and I called him, and he said, this one over here. Went to see him, and now I left my cardiologist all through
The one in St. George?
Yeah. The thoracic surgeon there that operated on me was, he nipped my artery into my heart and sutured it shut. So right after the operation, I was in serious trouble.
Oh my gosh.
It was the cardiologist who saved my life then. My blessing says my life will be protected till my mission is finished.
Wow.
I just don't know what my mission is. So, there's reason why she wasn't here today. I wouldn't be able to talk about this if she were here. I wouldn't feel comfortable. So, I hadn't been here long, and she called, and we got together, and she apologized, and she had been thinking about her stuff. She'd made a whole new woman out of herself, actually. She was looking at what she needed to do, not what I needed to do before. You need to do this, you need to do that.
Right.
And she's just been a doll. So I went to the doctor, and he said, well, it's been 10 years. And he examined me and said, I think you have a valve problem. So I need to look into that. So we had an MRI, we had all kinds of things. I do. But it's not operable. And it's not that serious yet. So, I'm looking, if I have 5 more years, that makes me 90. I'm happy, don't you think, to live to 90? Unless I get to 90, then I'll want 100. So anyway, he got to the point, he said, we need to do an angiogram. So I didn't want to do one. I've had 3 others through the years, and they're not fun.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. The angiogram that I just got out of the hospital, he found that 1 stent to an artery to the heart, 90% blocked. And so it was just feeding, and I've been having some pains up here, and I told him that, and that's why he wanted the angiogram. Long story short, he put a stent inside the scar tissue, had filled up. That was what had blocked off. He was my leader in the high priest corps. Anyway, so he was finally able to cut out the cartilage and put another stent in, and then pushing the other stent that was already there up enough to get a flow.
Nice.
That was 2 days ago. Had I not been divorced, meaning had to move from St. George to someplace, here, obviously, this guy is probably 3 out of the nation that does the stuff that he does. So now, saying, how blessed we were that we got a divorce and how blessed we are to be back together again, planning to get married the first year.
Wow.
I have so many stories like this. We haven't really begun on this, what I want to say about helping other mission presidents.
Well, that's true. You might have to re-interview for that. But I have some questions for you.
Sure.
So you were mission president at the MTC in 83 to 86.
Probably, yeah.
And after that, you were at BYU for 10 years.
Uh-huh. Then after that, I got a call from Bob Wells, Elder Robert E. Wells.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 40 years. He was my file leader when I was mission president. Back then, they didn't have area presidents. He called and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm bored to death at BYU." And he said, "Well, we need somebody. You want another story?" You don't.
I do. Go ahead.
Go on forever and ever.
Well, actually, I do. I have a few specific things to get to, but yeah, I want to hear everything.
You give me guidance and I'll just follow.
Well, there are some things about the MTC that I wanted to ask you about. I lived in, I told you, for a number of years, and I worked for, I was at the MTC in 84, and you were my mission president.
No wonder you're so talented.
Is that why? Is that right? So, you know, the last several years I've worked as an addiction specialist. Yeah, I worked in court for a number of years, mostly getting people with drug and alcohol addiction issues to treatment. But some of the things that I understood or that I came to learn about that is addiction is a disease. People, when they have some kind of an addiction, like my stepfather was violently sexually abusive. And you and I talked about that at the MTC. And
we did?
Yes, we did, yeah.
There's my bad memory again.
Here's your bad memory. Anyway, yeah, you helped me understand that it wasn't my fault, which was really amazing. But you also kind of groomed me a little bit. And you took me down into the basement. It wasn't really a basement, but it was downstairs, a little storage room. Mm-hmm. I'm not angry with you because I think
you ought to be.
Well, maybe, but I'm not. I'm over a lot of things that have happened to me, but you hurt me, and I need an apology.
Well, I apologize from the depth of my heart. I can't remember what it was, but I'm...
Okay, let's go back a little bit, and I'll tell you because...
Well, yeah, tell me.
I have struggled for 33 years with what you did to me, and I am only interested in an apology. I reported what you did to me to Elder AC. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Corman 70, did he ever talk to you?
No.
Did anybody from Salt Lake ever tell you that you were accused of sexual assault?
No.
You were never disfellowshipped, had a counsel?
I felt I had repented. I confessed.
Oh, so
that thing.
Was it, you confessed about me?
I don't know about, I confessed all of my sins to Robert Wells when I was in the mission. But anyway, let me apologize.
Well, all right. Well, I have needed that for a long time, but let me just carry on a little bit.
Sure.
What you did to me destroyed my faith and testimony in priesthood leaders and in the church.
Wow.
You took me down. You don't remember taking a sister missionary downstairs into the basement? Okay, let me say this. 33 years ago is a long time. I need an apology, and I need an admission, and I need to know what was ever done, if anything. Because I have carried this, and it has destroyed my life. Mm-hmm. So, do you remember the room in the basement?
I do.
Do you remember the movies in the basement? The DVD or the VHS player and the TV? No. Do you remember tearing my blouse, pulling up my skirt, ripping the back of my skirt and trying to rape me? But you didn't because you didn't have a full erection. You don't remember that?
No. Let me tell you what I do remember.
Okay. Do you know who I am?
No.
I don't. Are you? Yeah, I do.
I threatened to kill you in 2010.
You had some biker friends?
No. Biker friends? God, no.
You had, you came into the mission. Tell me your name. Your last name back then. You came in to the mission and you had a tough life.
And you know that because we had conversations,
yeah.
Correct. You gave me permission to go to the temple because I had been raped and had a baby out of wedlock.
Okay, I remember that.
Gave the baby up for adoption through LDS services. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad to run into you again.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Why?
Well, you think that that kind of thing doesn't affect me also? Because here I am balancing, I'm telling you some very deep spiritual experiences that have happened to me.
And I believe those.
They're true. I don't know how the Lord is so forgiving, but I had an addiction.
Yes, I know that now.
Do you?
I didn't know that then. I'm sorry. We don't recover from those things.
Well, mine was different. Mine was, as a young boy, I didn't have a sister, so I didn't know anything about girls. And I didn't grow physically.
Oh, so you were always small?
Always.
Oh, yeah, I was too.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I didn't even have breasts on my mission. It was after my mission or into my mission that I developed breasts. Yeah, I was so far behind.
Well, this affected me in a funny way. I felt, okay. No, it's a healing thing for, I want us both to heal some more.
Well, I need to show some compassion, which has been difficult for me. I understand.
Did you know who I was when you came here to do this?
Oh, yes. That's why I came here.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's part of the reason. The other part is, yeah. No, yeah, that's part of the reason. I have not healed. I reported this to Salt Lake when I came home from my mission before I got married in the temple. They sent Elder AC to me. Elder AC interviewed me. He said he would talk to you directly. I never heard anything. Apparently Elder AC didn't interview you. No one ever said, hey, what about this woman you tried to rape at the NTC? Nobody ever said that? No. So, is it a cover-up?
Well, I don't know.
What do you know?
I know that I had an addiction. I know that I was forever. When I was in high school, I was a little short kid, and I invited a short girl to go to a dance. And she said to me, come back and see me when you grow up.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's...
Well, it affects us.
But I had this thing about, that was a sexual addiction. What can I say?
But did you get treatment?
No.
So what did you, how do we...
I kept fighting it. I kept trying to pray and this and that and everything else to get over it. I now feel healed in the sense that I am not tempted. Did you notice what I did when you came in?
Shook my hand?
No, I opened those. So.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't notice that, but it's fine.
Well, just so you know, I don't put myself in
a position to be. Let me tell you some of the things that you did in the MTC, and I made closure. I'm not angry, but I am a broken woman because of the things that you did. Okay, one of the things you did was you told me that you and other leaders, and I didn't know what leaders meant at the time, would go to a place, and I don't know if it was a hot tub or hot springs, in Wyoming. Did you remember that?
No.
Has that ever happened? Why did you tell me that then?
I don't know.
Okay. There was a woman in the hot tub or at the springs or whatever with you and these other people who took her bikini top off. You don't remember that?
I had an experience similar to that, but it wasn't in a hot tub.
What was it in? What was it?
It was It was in Utah, it wasn't in Wyoming.
Do I have my areas mixed up?
Probably, because that's only, it did happen.
But that did happen, oh, so maybe it was Utah, okay. How about this one? You told me that,
Was I trying to titillate you?
I believe so, you were grooming me, is what you were doing. And there was another girl, we'll talk about her in a minute. You told me that you liked it when you and your wife, apparently, had dinner alone, candlelit dinner, and she had this...
Particular dress.
Yes! And you liked it when she pulled it down over her breast and exposed her breast at dinner.
Yes.
Okay. But, okay, so your addiction was the problem. I understand that. I understand that more than you know, only because I worked in substance abuse addiction.
Well, the other side of it was not...
Okay, you know what? We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
The fact that I was a missionary and you were my mission president and you were sharing that was the problem.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but you had that storage room. Why did you take me down there? And why did you do what you tried to do?
I think at that time I was still very much addicted.
You were really struggling?
Oh my. I have struggled my whole life on this very issue.
With no counseling, no way of making a change of behavior.
I used to say to myself all the time, I'm a hypocrite.
You were?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, damn right you were.
Okay, now where can a hypocrite go?
Oh, yeah. So you try to change your behavior.
Trying to solve it myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to think this. I'm not going to,
So you try your own kind of mind control where you focus on the appropriate things and try to set aside the things.
All of those things.
So, how many other women are there? How many other missionaries? How many other young women in the church have been destroyed like me? I'm not a member of the church anymore. I haven't been for years. Oh, please.
Because of me?
Partly because of you. My stepfather was a pedophile, but he was not Mormon. I joined the church. I lived
I remember that.
a very good, very healthy life. Went on my mission. All I wanted to do was serve the Lord. That is all I wanted to do. And you singled me out the very first day. The very first day, you asked me to bear my testimony. And then the next time the missionaries met, you asked me to give the prayer. And then you were calling me out of class. And the other missionaries were accusing me, calling me teacher's pet, and I can't remember what else. Ridiculous things. But I was so flattered. I thought I was so special. And you told me that I was special, that even though I had been abused, that the Lord loved me, and that I was going to be amazing.
I remember that.
I wasn't amazing. I was nothing. I was no one. I was just a missionary. I was just like all the other kids, 21-year-olds, 19-year-olds, trying to serve the Lord. And you took that away from me. And then you tried to rape me.
That part I don't remember.
Oh, how convenient. I need closure.
I'm not trying to be convenient. I'm trying to be honest.
Okay, Joe, I need closure because I have options that I just want this to be over between you and me.
I appreciate that.
So when you talked to Brother Wells and you repented, did you talk about this?
Yes.
You talked about what you did with me and other women?
Yes.
How many other women are there?
It's not that there's so many other women. It's just the few that were there. Few. I remember one when I was in the bishopric.
That was so long before you were a mission president.
That was.
Oh my God.
And I remember you.
Do you remember the other girl with me?
Pardon me?
Do you remember the other girl with me? The other one you were grooming? Her name was... Yes, that's her last name.
I remember.
Did you molest her?
Yes.
Did you apologize?
Oh, yes.
When I became president of the MTC, I found that sister missionaries would come in, and in that environment, praying every day, and trying to do everything that I said or other people said or the church said, pretty soon they'd have flashbacks of being molested.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that because you are who you are, and you're on this pedestal, and the Spirit is really strong, regardless of how worthy the vessel. The Spirit is really, really strong in the MTC. Oh, so what happened?
Had been molested, or maybe she hadn't been. I never could quite tell.
She was.
Okay.
You and I and she talked about it all together in the same meeting.
Did we?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I was thrust unwittingly and unwantingly into a work with women who had been harmed, traumatized. And I was not strong. You know, the last person that should have been in that situation was me. I shouldn't have been in that position. But anyway, there I was. Tried to commit suicide there at the MTC. I had asked Elder AC on several occasions, well, several, maybe twice. I needed a budget increase for a counselor for these women. And he had heard Elder Packer give a speech to bishops, I think. Or maybe it was a conference address, but he said, Elder AC's interpretation of this was, don't go to counselors, professional counselors, when you have a bishop. Go to the bishop.
A bishop who is not even qualified to deal with that kind of trauma?
Well, I don't know the speech. I didn't read the speech.
Okay.
Elder AC, I found out later that that's what he had heard, and so he reported to Elder Packer. And Elder AC wanted to do what Elder Packer wanted. Okay. And so I'd asked for help to get me out of it and get somebody in that was qualified to handle the situation. And I got turned down. In this process, up on the second floor of that one building, threatened to jump out head first on the cement 2 stories down. They called me. I was able to talk her down off that ledge.
Okay.
And I was angry at Elder AC. And I got in the car and I went to Elder AC. And I said, okay, do you understand what just happened? And if someone commits suicide in the MTC because they didn't have special counseling, then it's on you. It's not on me, because I've now asked for the last time that we need to get a counselor. And he then took that. Because of the seriousness of the situation, she tried to commit suicide. Well, I don't know. Wouldn't you say that's trying to commit suicide when you're up there and threatening to jump off or whatever it was serious.
All right.
It was serious. And he got me money. And I found Brother, I think was his name. He was excellent. He recommended that not go on the mission, but work there in the MTC, and she ended up living with us.
When did you molest her?
When she was living with us.
Oh, God.